Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you how I built this little sounding block to use with this little gavel. No sir, you are out of order! And 70, 70, 75, 75, 75, and sold! I want those reports on my desk by Thursday. Alright, so I want to be really clear. I did not build this gavel. Maybe someday I will build a gavel and show you how, but for this project, all I did is I built this little sounding block. So this gavel belongs to my brother and he uses it at work, though he's not a judge or an auctioneer or really anything that requires a gavel for his job. He uses it for comic relief in staff meetings and that sort of thing, but I think he's probably always a little hesitant to just start banging on desks and tables for fear of denting them or damaging the furniture. So I thought I'd build this little sounding block so the next time he needs to say, "I want to hear from that distributor by Thursday," he's got somewhere to bang. So this project starts with a trip to the hardware store to find a stain that is going to match the color of the gavel. You can see here I found one that looks like it's going to be a pretty good match. It's red mahogany, and it especially looks like a good match on the handle, so we'll go with that. Up next, back in the shop, I realized that I didn't have a way to cut out circles that would be perfectly round in the sizes that I was planning for this. I wanted to make some fairly small circles. So I used my router's edge guide as a template so that I could build a really small circle cutting jig. I just traced the outline onto some Lexan and then cut it out. And you can see here it turned out to be a pretty good fit, a little snug, just about the way I want it to be. Quickly mark the holes for where I want the screws to make sure it doesn't come out while it's in use. And before I knew it, I had a new little circle cutting jig that was going to work just fine. So I'm not going to go into a lot of the details of exactly how I built this little jig because it's really similar to the larger one that I made. You can click the link above there to see how that one was done in great detail. As you can see here, I'm just about finished up. I've got to attach it to a little work surface so that I can cut out that slot in the middle. Alright, with that jig made, I did a quick test on a scrap piece and it looks great. So this is the stock I'm using for the project. It's oak, 1/2 inch thick, and I started by just cutting some squares that would be large enough for the circles that I was planning to cut out. And then I used the old diagonal trick to mark the exact center of those, into which I then drilled about halfway through so that I would have an anchor point for my circle cutting jig, which I then used to cut out the circles. I'm only going to show you cutting out one, but I cut out two in different sizes, and you'll see why here in just a moment. And as soon as I had them cut out, I kissed them real quick with the sander just to kind of clean up their edges and remove any burn spots from the router. And then I also used my router table to put a quick round over on the upper edges of them. And this is what I'm left with. I've got the basic shape already in place, but I wanted to make sure that they would be lined up perfectly in the center. So what I did is I cut a little dowel that I could use as a center anchor point between the two discs. And that would let me rotate the discs around against each other so that I could line up the grain that I wanted, and also made sure that it was exactly dead center. And I think I like that grain alignment. Then it was time to sand. Started with 120 grit. And when I did this, I realized that the router had done a little bit of tear out here on one part of one of the discs. So I quickly filled those with some wood putty that was roughly the right color, let it dry completely, and then sanded it off, just really lightly. And before I knew it, those had been filled and we were ready to move on to the higher grits of sandpaper. I took it up through 220 and then also did 320 as well. This made for a mirror smooth finish on the tops of these, and they felt really great. Once I was done sanding, it was time to start putting some stain on there. And I kind of made a little mistake here. I was a little anxious to get the stain on, and I couldn't decide if I should stain it before I assembled it or stain them separately. And then I realized I wasn't sure if the glue would actually adhere very well, so I wound up kind of sanding off the center part there so that there would be a good area for the glue to adhere once I put them together. So after I got that sanded off, I again put that dowel in the center there to make sure that they were exactly dead center. Applied some pretty liberal amounts of glue in the middle there. Got them attached together and lined up exactly the way that I wanted. And then I put on 1, 2, 3, and 4 different clamps. And this also was a little bit of a mistake. I really should have clamped over a piece of extra wood on the top there. You'll see why in a minute. Had a little bit of squeeze out, got that cleaned up pretty easily with a rag. After the glue had dried, I took off the clamps, and this is where I realized the mistake that I'd made, because the pressure of the clamps kind of collapses the cellulose of the wood, and it makes it so that it doesn't really take up the stain as well in those areas. You can sort of see the pattern here as I'm holding the gavel to check the color, and it's still just a little too light, so I'm going to have to put more stain on. But you can really see the pattern here after I put on some more stain. It's pretty obvious exactly where those clamps were. You can really see it well in this shot. So after this coat of stain completely dried, I wound up just sanding down the top completely and starting over on that again. You can see that here. I was really careful though to only sand just the very top. I didn't go down over the edges at all. And then a couple of coats of stain later and I was back in business with a matching color that looked really good. I think I decided at this point to do one more coat of stain and wound up with a color that looked like this, which is a pretty good close match. It's not perfect, but it's awfully close. So we're ready for the polyurethane. Now I'm going to be using a spray-on polyurethane, so I grabbed a roll of tape and put the sounding block on top of it, and I used that as a pedestal so that as I was spraying, I could just rotate the sounding block. You just spray a very light little coat, rotate it a little bit, spray it again. This way I was able to get very even coverage all the way around. And this is the final result after, I think, 5 coats of the polyurethane. So as you can see here, the color isn't exactly perfect, but it's really close, and it looks better in person. You just have to take my word for it. So then the final step is to apply some felt to the bottom so that it won't scratch up any furniture. And this couldn't be much simpler. I just traced around the outside of the sounding block and then cut around the inside of my tracing so that the felt would be hidden just a little bit on the inside edge of the sounding block underneath. Once it was cut out, then just peeled off the backing to reveal the adhesive and stuck it to the back of the sounding block, being sure to push it down with pretty firm pressure so that it would stick. So here's the final result. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It looks great, it sounds great, and my brother was really pleased that now he's got something that he can hit without worry. Well, that's about it. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed learning how to build a little sounding block with me. If you've liked what you've seen, maybe think about hitting that thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, but no pressure. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I guess I should end this by saying, the end. Order, order, order in the court. Order, 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 order. And 70, 70, 75, 75, 75, and sold, sold, sold. Case dismissed.